Hello. Today we'll take up measurements of supply chain performance in global scale. This is probably the last slide that we'll take up to, to finish off supply SCM445. In this slide, we'll take up three basic areas. First will be the principles of supply chain performance management. Then we'll go to the service level agreement. The idea of supply chain or service level agreements, and finally, something you are familiar with will take up SCORE. I have not heard of. I always hear that an SCM student has always heard of the word SCORE. All right, so we'll take that up and how it relates to our course. Let's go. The measurement of supply chain performance in a global scale is very important because we know very well that in our business, in the global supply chain, no single firm owns the chain. It is basically a cooperative chain that everyone agrees to participate, and it is your decision whether you want to stay and hang on or leave the chain. This is a very important point to consider. You as a member or as a player in the chain can utilize that chain to win and improve your equity, the stockholders' ownership of the firm. And at the same time, you have to consider whether staying with that chain is beneficial for you. If not, you get out and work with another chain. This global supply chain is something that you have to consider very carefully. But how you do that is based on data. You have to make decision based on your data analysis. Data, what we call evidence-based or database. And therefore, the role of measurement is even very important. So Sebastian Kott, the author of this book, says that as a means to enhance future profits, management now measures and reports on a wide range of business performance, from customer perception to strategy consistency and adherence. So see, this is the fundamental basis of measurement as a means to enhance profit. You measure and you report on a wide range of business performance. You start from not just accounting data, but customer perception to strategy consistency and adherence. Then, if you do this, then you will be able to enhance your profits. D.M. Lambert and Poland bring up more detailed reasons for creating the complex tools for the whole supply chain measurements. So 5 reasons. Number 1, the essential perspective of supply chain. Number 2, the need of a specification of relation between company and supply chain performance. Number 3, the requirement on activity and information unification about the performance to implement the strategy that enables to reach the supply chain goals. Number 4, the requirement on differentiation from others' competitive supply chains. And number 5, the purpose to encourage the cooperation across the company's functions and companies in the chain. So of these 5, one very important point is this: the need of specifying the relation between the company and supply chain performance. What should it be? And then the requirement on activity. You want it at 9 o'clock, you want it 10. Requirement on activity and information unification about the performance to implement the strategy that enables to reach the company chain goals. Number 4, the requirement on differentiation How do you differentiate yourselves from others' competitive supply chains? And number 5, the purpose of a measurement is to encourage the cooperation across the company's functions and companies in the chain. The rise of new cost management concepts which would fulfill the requirements of contemporary economy and might be applied to supply chain analysis was directly enforced by Zelensky. So this is another author. He said that the focus on maximum value for the end customer. So we are always looking at the end customer, what they need. Perceiving cost as a price paid by an end customer. So whenever we use extra time, extra piece of paper, extra packaging materials, we understand that these extras resource that we use will ultimately be paid by the end customer, and the end customer should be happy about what we are doing. If the end customer does not appreciate the extra packaging that we put in or the glossy materials that we put in, which increase the cost, then don't do it. That's the meaning of this. So at this point, it is very important to understand what the customer wants and what they value. Otherwise, there's no point in making it very nice or making it less nice. Number 3, realizing that companies compete on the level of processes and competitive advantage belongs to the company which performs its activities and economic processes better and more efficiently. So you see, we can talk about strategy at a high level, but ultimately the competition is performed at the level of processes. It's at the down level, at the street. And competitive advantage belongs to the company which performs its activities and economic processes better and more efficiently. So it is where it's on the street. That's where you have to perform well. The desire to introduce new, renewed product categories to the market and to service profitable customers. Now you have to look for customers which can bring you profit. Desire to introduce new, renowned product categories. And finally, the need for identification of partners and supply chain participants that are cheapest in the long run. So you would like to know who or which chain would give you the best options. So these are the 5 points which would fulfill, according to Zelensky. These are the 5 ideas why you want to measure supply chain cost accounting and the concept of activity-based costing. When you talk about activity-based costing, you would like to identify the activities, the level that makes it work. That's why here, if you look at this, the level of process and which here the activities and economic processes, this connects very well with this concept of activity-based costing. If you have studied this in accounting, the activity-based costing measures specific activity. How much does it cost? How many times did you push your arm? How many times did you pull your arm? And the internal perspective provides focus on the core competencies, processes, decisions, and actions that have the greatest impact on attaining customer satisfaction. We are always looking at what will make the customer happy. Financial accounting measures are certainly important in assessing whether or not operational changes are improving the financial health of an enterprise, but insufficient to measure supply chain performance for the following reasons. This is why we are thinking of other techniques, because we believe that financial accounting may not be as appropriate for this particular task. And what are these? The measures tend to be historically oriented and not focused on providing a forward-looking perspective. If you notice, your financial statement measures, for example, past sales and past deliveries. So what it will be the future? We don't know. The financial accounts doesn't say so. Further, financial accounting measures do not relate to important strategic non-financial performance like customer service, loyalty, and product quality. Your balance sheet does not indicate which product or which product connects with what strategy and what service level you would like to give. And finally, the measures do not directly tie the operational effectiveness and efficiency. Sometimes the financial statement does not provide you with an aggregate of data that connects directly to the decision of which product line or which service or which color of product to sell. And so we would like to develop new, not really develop new, but we would like to develop measurement that would supplement financial accounting measurements. And one of these, a very popular one, is the one by Kaplan and Norton, Balance Scorecard, which says that it is the combination of financial measurement, customer satisfaction, key internal processes, and organizational learning and growth. These should be measured. And these four, once you are able to measure this, could help you identify what will be good for your organization. And will tell you whether there's a need to improve something where. Just for completeness, let me define what is meant by balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard says that for customer satisfaction, we would like to see the customer whether they're happy in terms of time, quality, performance, service, and cost, as well as relationship, brand, and product leadership. Key internal processes is whether we are fast enough, we are improving our process, provides focus on the core competencies, our processes, decisions, and actions that have the greatest impact on attaining customer satisfaction, our own particular process. Organizational learning and growth measures continual improvements and training and systems and processes. And financial measures shows whether executives have correctly identified and constructed their measures in the three preceding areas. So this is the end result. We are measured at the hope we do this three, hoping that we can attain a good measure here. But which of these would be the first one to do? All right, we say this should be the first one, followed by, then if people are learning, then your organizational process will become better, which will lead towards a satisfied customer. Once the customer is satisfied, then you have a good financial result. And as you can see, the output, so these are the input measurements, and these are the output measurements. So in input measurements, we have the organizational learning and growth, and key internal processes, and the output would be customer satisfaction and financial measurements, such as, for example, customer satisfaction would be service and cost, as well as the relationship, brand, and product leadership. And of course, we have these financial measurements, how much money you get. And one example that I'd like to show you is this. This is a measurement or an example of ground operations management of ground in the airport. I think this one. So if you look at this, as a backgrounder, you want the plane to come down and go out immediately. All right. And that's what we want to happen if you own an airline. And so, for you to do that, see here, you want a fast ground turnaround. Once your plane lands, you want to bring it up again. You would like to measure that one. In order for this to happen, you need to learn. You need to develop the skills necessary to do that. Develop the support system. Ground crew aligned with strategy. So there's a lot of learning and growth perspective here. And then once you have that, then the customer will be happy. We assume this. On-time service, lowest prices, attract and retain more customers, because the plane is not grounded for a long time. Then you can offer it. You offer it the plane for attract and retain more customers. Flight is on time and lowest prices. Once this is happening, then you have a financial perspective, a good one. Grow revenue, fewer planes. You don't need too much planes because the planes are moving quickly. You know, when you have only one plane, you need the plane to be on the sky all the time, flying all the time, in order to generate money. But if you have a less plane, you have a lot of plane, to carry this amount of passenger, you will have to, you have a relaxed activity. You just go there. And so what does that mean? If you have a lot of planes, you have to pay for more planes, right? So we are saying is that if you have a fast ground turnaround, then you will have fewer planes. If you have fewer planes, then less money to buy planes. Then you can use that money somewhere else. And so you have increased your profit. So we say that from here to there, the objectives on each part goes up. You have the profitability, grow revenues, fewer planes, all right? So it goes up. Now, what are this? This activity on the right side talks about the balance scorecard. This is the strategy now. This is what we are talking about. All measurements. The balance scorecard is only about measurements. So what are those parameters that you are counting? Look at this. The fast ground turnaround. You just measure the time. You don't care what this is. From the point of view of the record keeper, he just record 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, on-time departure, how many times you are late. Just this. When you measure this, it will support this. Look at this. Strategic job readiness. Are you ready to attain the job, to perform the job? Information systems are available. All right. Strategic awareness, percent ground crew stockholders. These are data you need. Strategic job readiness is related to training, because you have to go through training. Then we say after you have graduated and attained so much degree or training certificate, then you are ready to take the job. All right. So you see year 1, year 3, year 5. Going here, customer ranking. How does the customer rank your airlines? On-time arrival, number of customers you have. So see here, and that one. Fewer planes would lead to big number of customers. How can you do that? By fast turnaround. And then of these customers, how many are repeat customers? This is important. How many people are coming back? From the point of view of a record keeper, I repeat, a record keeper can just focus here. Just keep recording. He doesn't need to know this. But as a member of the management team, you must know this. Let's take this up. Market value, seat revenue, plane lease cost. Seat revenue is how much money you generate from the seat. Because you can have a 100 seat plane, but only 50% of your seat are effectively flying, because only 50 people come to board the plane, right? So these are the measurements. And these measurements are not available in financial accounting. Let's go here. So you see, as I was saying, the training, in order for you to attain this, in order for you to develop this, you need to do this action plan, this initiative. Safety, you see here, ground crew training, crew scheduling system rollout, communications program, employee stock ownership. You have to motivate them to bring them in. So these are initiative, action. And then cycle time optimization. And then we have here, implement CRM system, quality, implements customer relationship management system, quality management, and customer loyalty program. So these are the initiatives. These are activities you have to do with the corresponding budget, and hopefully you can attain this. So here this is empty because you are just waiting for the result. Budget means expenses, hoping that here it will be revenue. So we end here at this time, and we'll continue after we pause on towards the next recording.